Good evening and welcome to the evening news for today, Tuesday, July the 4th, 2023. I am Gerald Bryan. Thank you for tuning in. Now let's take a look at some of the lead stories tonight. Windstorms devastate houses in AISHALTON, BERBICE. DHARAMLALL rape allegation, no legal provision to proceed with the matter, DPP. Canada's parliamentary secretary to visit Guyana this week. LGE 2023 voter turnout further plummets from 36% in 2018. And better transport system needed to slash food import bill, incoming CARICOM chair. Now for the news in detail. Sections of Guyana recently experienced windstorms that resulted in several houses in villages in regions 5 and 9 being devastated and occupants having to contend with major losses. Andrew Carmichael has our lead story tonight.
At Trafalgar, popularly called number 28 village in Region 5, Mahika BERBICE, residents say there was a rainstorm powered by lightning and thunder on Monday night. Several houses lost parts of their roofs. One building was blown off of its post and there are reports of damage to crops. Some residents reported that livestock died when their pens were blown down. At about 23 hours, residents of the village say the power went off. Many did not realize the damages until daylight. 22-year-old Fiona Messiah, a teacher who lives with her 7-year-old baby, said she was forced out of her house, which she recently constructed.
A little bit after 8, like around 9, the rain came down very heavy with lightning, thunder, and I got scared, so we decided to come out from the house. Well, I didn't know that all of this would have happened, so we just came out from the house and I went over to my aunt's house where we stayed there that night.
On Tuesday morning, she discovered that the roof and sections of the wall of the house were underground. The young teacher estimates her losses in excess of $1 million.
And when I came outside, I came here and I saw this. I was very shocked and traumatized to see that something that I've built as of recently, I put all my effort into, this is what had happened. I didn't know that well, when I saw the roof, I was saying that maybe the man that did my roof, it hadn't done properly. But now when I came closer and I checked, the walls, the concrete walls, they were down. It means that when they bolt the wood into the concrete for the roof, the storm or whatever it was last night, it lifted everything up. It's like it was in a circular motion. It lifted everything up from the inside and it just threw the roof off.
The rain would have soaked everything in the house, including appliances. After Tuesday afternoon, power had not been restored for her to see if electrical appliances were still in working order. Meanwhile, as several families experienced a sleepless night as rain poured into their houses, Lakeisha Bristol says she was in bed when 2 zinc sheets from the room she was in were ripped off. The family of 7 was eventually forced to converge into one room until the storm was over.
All I hear was blood and the rain started coming in more. And when I raised my head, it was the 2 zinc on top come off. And I get up and I come outside in the hall. And all the doors started to open by the breeze. The bolt loose out, so the door open. And then in the other room, when the next thunder rolled and the lightning flashed, the other room, 2 other things come out. And the other foundation in the backyard, it fall down, and then when we peep out, then we see the house behind fall. When the rain started coming, we had to come downstairs, but we had to end up in the back room because the 2 in front, by the water, in the 2-story, the upper flat, by the rain wetting up down there, it comes straight downstairs. So by the back, we have to go at the back.
One of the worst affected residents, Aisha Daniel Kippins, was not at home at the time. The woman says she was on her way home amidst the heavy rain when she saw the power go off and took a detour and went to her mother's home, where she spent the night.
Like 11 last night.
Okay. What was the weather condition like?
It was very stormy, heavy rain, lightning and thunder, real thunder and lightning, real thunder. When I tell heavy rain, that every car alarm went off last night. houses, you're hearing zinc, but then you don't know what's going on. I didn't know they had a storm. I thought it was normal lightning and thunder with rain. But it was real, real dark. Shut down, GPS shut down. The entire village was in blackout. When I came down this morning, I saw my house on the ground. That was it, with everything inside.
Meanwhile, a total of 6 houses at AISHALTON, Region 9, were destroyed by high winds on June 30, 2023. After receiving the report, the Civil Defense Commission, CDC, along with regional authorities, conducted a damage assessment. As a result of the initial assessment, the CDC dispatched food hampers, tarpaulins, hammocks, and cleaning hampers to the impacted residents. The CDC says the region is being monitored closely for more high-level winds and flood impacts as the rainy season continues. Andrew Carmichael, The Evening News.
The Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, has determined that there is no legal provision to proceed with charges against Minister of Local Government and Regional Development Nigel DHARAMLALL, who had been accused of raping a 16-year-old girl. Lawanda McAllister tells us more.
Crime Chief Wendell Blanham confirmed to the Evening News that the updated police file on its investigations into the allegations of rape against Minister of Local Government and Regional Development Nigel DHARAMLALL has been returned to the Director of Public Prosecutions. According to him, the file was returned on Tuesday with the additional information as requested by the DPP last month. On July 28th, it was reported that the DPP told the police to conduct further investigations into the matter. But then, a few days ago, the Guyana Police Force disclosed that the alleged victim has given a no further action statement to investigators in the presence of one of her parents and a representative from the Child Care and Protection Agency. Against this backdrop, the updated file was prepared and submitted to the DPP for further legal advice. That advice was returned to the police later in the day. In her advice, the DPP disclosed that consideration was given to the fact that the complainants gave a further statement to investigators that she wishes to withdraw her complaint against Minister DHARAMLALL and that her decision was not influenced by anyone, that same was in her best interest. The DPP also said her advice was based on the fact that the virtual complainant's statement was taken by a forensic interviewer in the presence of a parent, a child care officer, and a police officer, and that such statement was free and voluntary. In light of the above, the DPP concluded that in the absence of the victim's complaints, there is no legal provision for the police to proceed with the matter. DHARAMLALL is currently on administrative leave following an allegation of rape made by a 16-year-old, which first surfaced on social media. DHARAMLALL was also arrested and placed on $1 million station bail as police probed the matter. DHARAMLALL has retained the services of Hughes, Fields and Stobie, which is Nigel Hughes' law firm. President Dr. Irfan Ali has since assured that he would respect the outcome of the investigation and indicated that the fate of DHARAMLALL as a minister would be determined when the state's institutions have completed their work. Reporting for the Evening News, Lawanda McAllister.
As the United States celebrates its 247th Independence Day today, Guyana is assured of its commitment to deepening ties with the country, with President Dr. Irfan Ali referring to the U.S. as Guyana's most strategic partner. Here is Pooja Rambaran with the details.
In his letter to U.S. President Joe Biden, President Dr. Irfan Ali extended best wishes and spoke of the long-standing and increasing bilateral cooperation between the two countries. President Ali noted that as the countries continue to engage at the bilateral, regional, and multilateral levels on national and international issues of mutual interest, Guyana's government remains committed to deepening cooperation with the U.S. as its most strategic and valued partner. Earlier this year, President Ali reiterated Guyana's adherence to this partnership to a visiting 7-member bipartisan U.S. congressional delegation. This delegation had met with government officials and opposition leaders to discuss issues related to governance, economic matters, and the importance of bipartisan cooperation. President Ali had noted that they also discussed how to best position Guyana as sustainable, resilient, and competitive through the revenues generated from oil and gas. Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken will be in Guyana on Thursday to meet with President Ali and his cabinet members to further the bilateral relations between the two countries and foster regional cooperation. Pooja Rambrand for the Evening News.
Parliamentary Secretary to Canada's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Maninda Saidu, will travel to Guyana this week for a series of bilateral engagements. He is currently in Trinidad and Tobago for the 45th regular meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government of the Caribbean Community, CARICOM. During his visit to Guyana, Parliamentary Secretary Saidu will meet with Hugh Todd, Guyana's Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, to strengthen the two countries' collaboration on shared priorities, including energy transition and food security. The Parliamentary Secretary will also get a better understanding of Guyana's economic situation and its opportunities for Canadian companies by meeting key political and commercial stakeholders. In addition, he will have the chance to visit local projects that support migrants and early childhood development in indigenous communities, which are funded by the Caribbean Regional Development Program and the Canada Fund for Local Initiatives. Canada and Guyana enjoy a close relationship built on more than 50 years of deep people-to-people ties, important trading connections, long-standing collaboration aimed at advancing inclusive economic development and security partnership. We now tell you that the local population's participation in the local government polls continues to show poorly, as this year registered a further dip in the numbers when compared to the last elections in 2018. However, as we hear in this report this year, there were over a dozen local authority areas wherein no voting took place. Here is more. According to data released by the Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM, less than 50% of registered voters participated in the local government elections this year. Specifically, 540,056 persons were eligible to vote, but only 188,856, or 34.97%, actually turned out to cast their ballots. The lowest turnout was seen in places like Good Success, Caledonia, where just 1,818 of 8,713 eligible voters voted. In the capital city, there were 122,892 registered voters in Georgetown, but only 34,527 voted, representing 28.1%. In New Amsterdam, there are 14,594 eligible voters, but only 5,495 voted, representing 37.65%. In Linden, 28,675 residents were on the voters list, but only 10,623 turned up at the polls, representing 37.5%. In Madia, there was a 42.5% voter turnout, with just 668 persons voting from a voters list of 1,569. Meanwhile, of the 8,357 persons registered, only 3,423 voted in Bartica, a 40.96% turnout. Meanwhile, of the 8,357 persons registered, only 3,423 voted in Bartica, a 40.96% turnout. In contrast, however, the voter turnout at the 2018 polls was 36%. The data showed that out of 572,531 persons registered to vote, only 208,534 actually exercised their franchise. Interestingly too, when LGE were held in 2016, the turnout was 47%. Nevertheless, at the recently concluded June 12 polls, the People's Progressive Party, Civic, PPPC, won 67 of 80 local authority areas, LAAs. There were 13 LAAs in which no voting was done because the PPPC was unchallenged by any party. Specifically, the PPP made major inroads in areas such as Georgetown, Linden, Madia, and New Amsterdam by either increasing their votes or their seats on the councils. Jarrell Bryan, The Evening News. Coming up, Miss India Worldwide to use platform to tackle depression, and businessman Andrew Morgan found guilty of narco trafficking.
Turbo energy drink rolling out the Turbo Hot Summer Wheels promotion. Win a brand new 2023 Honda HR-V. Plus over $3 million in weekly cash and prizes. Just grab any bottle of Turbo energy drink, Buster or Classic, and locate the 8-digit code on the bottle. Then visit Turbo IG and Facebook at Turbo_Caribbean. For more details, conditions apply.
Premier insurance coverage for less. Stay safe.
On the job, you know how it goes. 1 minute, everything's going right, and the next, something goes wrong. Don't worry, Premier Insurance will make things right again. For all risks insurance, call 223-0840 or visit premierinsurance.gy. Fuel your success. Premier insurance coverage for less.
Knock off. The Oreos belong to us.
No, they belong to whoever finds them first.
Get your Oreo Transformers Limited Edition and awaken the beast.
Entrepreneurs, coconut byproducts are in high demand. How can you cater to that demand? By investing in a coconut shredder from Sylvie's. Guaranteed to increase your output, this 110-volt stainless steel machine shreds coconut in seconds, allowing you to also save on labor and time. From the shreds, you can create coconut powder, oil, milk, etc. Order yours now at sylviesonline.com or at our 31 High and Hatfield Street store.
Welcome back. You're watching the evening news. Reigning Miss India Guyana, Aruna Sugdio, who won the international title of Miss India Worldwide in June, aims to use her platform to help young adults and teenagers conquer their depression. Cassia Dickinson has this story.
The next step for me would be to use that platform to help others. So my platform that I had in pageant since the local leg here in Guyana was mental health, specifically depression, because that is something that I struggled with back in high school. And just coming out of high school, I also felt a bit depressed because I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life as yet. No one knows what they want to do at such a young age. Do you continue studying? And if so, what field are you getting into? Or do you work? And how do you know which job is right for you? And that can be depressing at times. And not a lot of persons are strong enough to conquer depression. Some of them turn to suicide. And that really can harm our future generations.
That was Miss India Worldwide 2023 Aruna Sugdio speaking during an interview with the Evening News on Sunday, where she opened up about her own experience with depression. The reigning queen said she wants to create a program that can be implemented in workplaces and schools to give people support.
So I want to be able to create a program that I can use in the workplace or even in schools to tell these young people that, hey, you are not alone. We can get through with this step by step. You don't have to feel depressed. You don't have to have those thoughts of suicide. We're here to help you. Also, to create a program, hopefully, where we can use art and music as well, so that they can work through that depression. Because for me, when I was depressed, music was the one thing that was there to help me. And it's one of the reasons why I start writing my own songs, because that was what helped me through my depression period. So if we can have a program in schools and in the work environment to help these young adults and teenagers conquer their depression, that will be very well. Also to talk about other topics like abuse, gender-based violence, anxiety, and so on and so forth.
Meanwhile, reflecting on her journey to the international crown, Sugdio explained that it was her first time flying and it was a scary experience, given her fear of heights. It was also her first time ever competing in a pageant, and to have won at the international level is an experience of a lifetime.
It can be intimidating at times because, you know, that country is bringing their best to compete against you for your country. But being in that room with those phenomenal girls, seeing their thoughts, hearing their thoughts, seeing what they bring to the table, it was a great experience.
Sugdio is a 20-year-old final-year economics student at the University of Guyana. She is passionate about using her platforms to amplify her voice to help others. Tassia Dickinson, The Evening News.
Hackathon, the innovation challenge of the Office of the Prime Minister, has returned this year with great momentum in that 15 teams of tech-savvy youths will be contesting for the top prizes worth accumulatively $1.5 million. Find out more in this Ruper's Senior Ryan report.
This year's edition of the Innovation Challenge was organized through collaboration with SBM Offshore Guyana. The coding event will span for 3 days, commencing on Friday. Director of the Industry and Innovation Unit at OPM, Shahrukh Hussain, noted that ICT has the potential to enable transformation in society and the economy. The driving factor behind this initiative is to promote innovation.
There are a lot of young people out there with great ideas, but it has been challenging for them to convert those ideas into income-generating operations. At the Innovation Challenge, or Hackathon, it is the perfect avenue for them to tap into their creativity and tap them into creating new and sustainable solutions in the form of a workable software.
Outlining some new initiatives undertaken, Minister within the Office of the Prime Minister Kwame McCoy underscored that connectivity and ICT development has been a major focus of his administration.
Your government is working and continues to work on our ICT development, and there are many things in which we have begun, and I'm sure many of you by now would have heard about the EID card and all the other things that we are working to put in place for road users, for example, the cameras that would be able to make sure that it captures the images of the vehicle and the number plate rather, and send the ticket if you're speeding beyond or going beyond a certain rate. It sends it home, mails it home to you. Actually, you get a ticket you have to pay. And there's so many other things that we are doing and we're planning and we're working on at the same time.
According to Local Content Officer at SBM Offshore, Gary Fraser, innovation and local content are integral in the company's operations, a goal that is being heavily propelled.
Local content for SBM is very important. And this is just one of several initiatives that our company is utilizing to provide Guyanese with the skills and knowledge that is needed in the oil and gas industry today.
Last year, 5 successful ideas were put into development, for each of which software was respectively created. This included applications for virtual tourism, environmental conservation, tracking deforestation using artificial intelligence, drainage and irrigation management, and natural resources asset management. Rupa Sinarain, The Evening News.
Prime Minister of Dominica, Roosevelt Skerrit, the incoming chairman of the Caribbean Community, CARICOM, has echoed the urgings of President Dr. Irfan Ali that an effective transportation system must be seen as priority for slashing the regional food import bill. More in this report. The opening ceremony of CARICOM's Heads of Government meeting saw Bahamas Prime Minister Philip Davis handing over the regional chairmanship to his Dominican counterpart, Roosevelt Skerrit. In his address, Skerrit spoke of the regional agricultural agenda and the importance of tackling non-tariff barriers.
As we set ourselves new targets to ensure that we thrive in this ever-changing global environment, there are unfinished tasks that we must complete. The issue of free movement, non-tariff barriers to trade, reliable and affordable transportation are all fundamental to a truly integrated CARICOM. We must address our minds and collective will to resolve some key issues. We have the opportunity on this historic occasion, and as we deliberate over the next few days, to take some decisions that can be truly transformative for our people and which will shape the future of our community for the next 50 years.
President Dr. Irfaan Ali has been vocal in advocating for a stronger regional transportation system to boost trade. Skerritt echoed these sentiments in his address, noting that a robust transportation system is critical for slashing the regional food bill.
The movement of people and goods are the backbone of a successful integration movement. We have done all the studies, and the statistics point us to the favorable outcome of an effective transportation system. I accept that this is a challenge that requires investments, which may not see an immediate return. It requires confidence that the provision of such a service will boost commercial opportunities and encourage more intra-regional travel. Our drive to reduce our food import bill by 25% by 2025 depends in large measure on intra-regional transportation. The early indications are that our agricultural sector and our farmers are rising to the challenge.
The PM further urged the revitalization of the single domestic space and concerted measures to make travel between member states as seamless as possible. Last month, President Ali had called for solutions in the regional transport and logistics sector. He had explained that in order to transform the Caribbean into a regional food hub, there must be a better network for the movement of goods. Meanwhile, it was disclosed recently that CARICOM is mulling the implementation of fast ferry to boost intra-regional trade. Jarrell Bryan, The Evening News. Several persons living with a walking disability in BERBICE have received wheelchairs through a donation from Food for the Poor Guyana Inc. in conjunction with the St. Francis Community Developers Organization. Our BERBICE correspondent, Andrew Carmichael, reports.
On Saturday last, 20 wheelchairs were distributed to persons with disabilities through the collaboration of St. Francis Community Developers and Food for the Poor Guyana. Alex Foster, who holds a position as president of St. Francis and as BERBICE representative for Food for the Poor, explained that for 3 years there were disruptions to the supply of items, including wheelchairs, to the organization. This in turn affected the charity work program of the organizations. Now, for the first time since the COVID-19 struck, the organization has been able to bring relief to citizens.
To you, the recipients, or representative of the recipient, we would like to say congratulations for following the instructions and following all that you had to do to be here at this stage. So congratulations.
Foster said that the organization will adopt a no-nonsense approach towards those who do not use the wheelchairs for its intended purpose.
In the past, we had people who sell the chair to other people. And then when you find them up, you want to lock them up, put them in the hands of police. And anybody know if me call the police will be there in a split second to repossess the chair and to embarrass you when you have to go and refund the money that you took from people. Let this wheelchair, therefore, as the uncle sit down in one there, be utilized. So we do hope that as you sit down in the chair, you will thank Food for the Poor, the people who contributed to Food for the Poor in Guyana to make this possible.
Foster urged persons who may no longer need the wheelchairs to return them to the organization so that they can be used to benefit other persons. Andrew Carmichael, The Evening News.
53-year-old Michael Andrew Morgan has been found guilty of trafficking $3.5 million worth of cocaine after the matter was heard by Senior Magistrate Sunil Scarce at the Diamond Grove Magistrates Court today. Sentencing has been deferred to July the 14th, pending a probation report. On June 29, 2022, Morgan of Exeter Avenue, Eccles, East Bank, Demerara, was remanded to prison after being charged in connection with the discovery of 3.278 kilograms of cocaine at his home earlier that month. At his second court appearance in August of that year, he was again refused bail and further remanded to prison. Andrew Morgan and his brother, Peter Morgan, have been on the Kanu radar for more than 2 decades. Notably, Peter Morgan was deported from the U.S. back in 2015 after serving his time in prison on trafficking in narcotics charges. He was arrested in the United States for conspiring to import, possess, and distribute 5 kilograms of cocaine between December 2001 and August 2003. And now for a look at the bridge reports.
The Demerara Harbour Bridge is scheduled to be closed on Wednesday, July 5th, 2023 at 4 hours 15 for a period of 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, the BERBICE River Bridge is scheduled to be closed on Wednesday, July 5th, 2023 at 5 hours 30 for a period of 1.5 hours.
Emmanuel Archibald strikes gold at CAC Games, and American Traveller storms the victory at KMTC CARICOM Day Horse Race. Details of these stories and more in the Sportscast, sponsored by McCorp, coming up on the other side of the break.
Superbet, your best bet. Win with Superbet. With many products to choose from, winning can be endless. Visit an agent near you or www.superbet.gy to play your favorite games. Must be 18 years and older. Terms and conditions apply. Play responsibly.
Turbo Energy Drink rolling out the Turbo Hot Summer Wheels promotion. Win a brand new 2023 Honda HR-V plus over $3 million in weekly cash and prizes. Just grab any bottle of Turbo Energy Drink, Buster or Classic, and locate the 8-digit code on the bottle. Then visit Turbo IG and Facebook at Turbo_Caribbean. For more details, conditions apply.
Knock off. The Oreos belong to us.
No, they belong to whoever finds them first.
Get your Oreo Transformers Limited Edition and awaken the beast.
Looking to bring your dream home to reality? Or simply taking on a home improvement project? Then National Hardware Limited is where you should start. Let us put that touch to your home. Choose from over 1,000 Berger Paint original hues for any surface. We are known for our trusted brands such as Westinghouse, Philips, Sadco, Rubbermaid, Pyrex, Gibson Home, and so much more. National Hardware Limited, your do-it-best store. Located in downtown Georgetown and industrial site